Welcome to the Toffee Blues. Welcome to another Everton live show. We haven't done one of these in absolutely ages. It's just been a bit manic recently. I am joined by Jordan once again. Made up to be joined by Jordan today to talk about Everton's start to the Premier League season, as well as the upcoming Merseyside derby, of course, on Saturday. We're going to talk about Carlo Ancelotti's Everton winning their first 7 fixtures, 4 out of 4 in the Premier League, of course, 3 Carabao Cup fixtures as well. Before we get into it, Jordan, we haven't done one of these in a few months. How are we, mate? How are we doing?
Yeah, all good, mate, all good. It's been slightly different since I last talked to you with my thoughts on Everton, which we'll get into. You know, a lot more positive, shall we say. But I'm all good, mate. I'm all good, apart from obviously being happy with Everton. How are you?
That's it, mate. Spot on. I'm exactly the same. I think we last done one of these live shows before we'd signed anybody. I even think the topic of the last one was talking about being worried about Everton's transfer business. Since then, obviously, we've signed James Rodriguez, Alan, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Niles Nkounkou's come in, obviously Ben Godfrey, Robin Olsen, and not only that, but we've started the season in absolutely fantastic form, of course. 4 wins out of 4 in the Premier League. Those 3 new signings, of course, Niles Nkounkou included because he's come in the Carabao Cup fixtures, but those 3 new midfielders, you know, Doucouré, Alan and James Rodriguez have come into the football club. They hadn't even been at the football club for a week, and they were playing their first game away to Tottenham Hotspur, a game in a ground in which we don't usually do very well at. And they went there and they were played like they've been playing for Everton for about 10 or 15 years. It just looked dead easy for all of them. You know, Abdoulaye Doucouré hadn't even been officially an Everton player for 5 days. He started that game and he was literally spraying passes to Luca Dean and Richarlison as if he'd been training with them for months. So it's been really refreshing, hasn't it, the start of the season, to see where we were towards the back end of last season. Obviously, we've done a lot of live shows towards the back end of last season, and we spoke about the Spurs result then when we were beaten 1-0 and we just didn't have anything about us. We didn't look interested, and we know Carlo Ancelotti spoke to the players at the end of the season and said, look, go away and come back with a completely new attitude, or don't come back at all. And that's exactly what's happened, hasn't it? Like you said, we've signed a few new players. We've completely sort of revitalised that midfield. Even the players that weren't performing last season, your Delphs, your Sigurdssons, your Tom Davises, they've come in and done what they've needed to do when they've been asked. It's been an unbelievable start to the season, hasn't it? Obviously, going in to the Merseyside derby, 7 wins out of 7, top of the league, 4 out of 4. I think we've scored something like 20 odd goals this season as well. The goals that we've conceded have been silly goals that you could scratch out, really. You know, the Brighton goal, stupid goal to concede. The first West Brom goal, it was a decent strike, but Mina shouldn't back off him. You know, we conceded a decent free kick against West Brom as well, but genuinely defensively we've been really, really good. And going forward, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, unbelievable form, Richarlison, James Rodriguez. What have you made of the new signings then, and obviously the impact that they've had so far, and also, you know, everybody else in the team that sort of have stepped the game up a little bit off the back of those 3 new players? Or, you know, obviously Niles Nkounkou's come in as well, and Godfrey and Olsen, but specifically the midfield 3 who've been playing in the Premier League.
Well, I think you've just pretty much nailed most of it, but going back to, you know, when we done that last video where we were like, I remember you going, I just want to get this Alan in now and get the first one in, and next minute 3 of them signed at once, and I remember we were heavily linked to it, Alan, and next minute I seen, I think Paul Joyce put it up, that with agreed deals with Doucouré, and I was like, oh my god, this is all happening at once here. So, you know, it was just a bit of a shock to the system, and seeing them play against Spurs, the 3 of them, it was like a whole new team. It was, and I said many times last year, I didn't really think the defence was that much of a problem, or the forwards. It was the midfield, and it's like everything else is coming together now with these 3 in the centre of the park, and we just look, like I said, we just look like a totally different team. It's mad. They look like they've been playing together forever.
Yeah, that's it.
Like people like, I'm sure we'll speak about him again in a minute, but like people like Rodriguez, you were like, oh, is he going to fit in the Premier League? And it just looks like nothing to him. You know, it's just, they have been 3 very, very good signings and very, very impressive in the 4 Premier League games I've seen them in, and obviously the odd Carabao Cup game as well. I think they've been 3 brilliant signings as of now.
That's it. I agree.
Just perfect fits.
I agree completely, 100%. I couldn't agree more. You know, like you said, you know, I remember sitting down and talking. I think it was after we were linked with Højbjerg of Southampton. It was after the Villa game, and obviously Højbjerg had come out and said, oh no, I don't want to go to Everton, I want to go to Spurs, and it was all very much I wouldn't say it was negative at that moment, but it was deflated in the Everton fan base because we felt like, Højbjerg was a player that may have been able to come in and improve us. He didn't seem interested, and it just felt like, are we going to sign a midfielder? And of course the Allen rumours remained throughout the entirety of the summer, but there was always that, there was always the Napoli president who was sort of standing there saying, well, you're not signing him unless you pay what we want you to pay. The James rumours popped back up, but to be honest with you, when the James rumours first popped back up, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I remember sitting there and looking at them on my phone, and even when the Guardian and the Telegraph and all of these reliable sources were reporting it, I was just looking, thinking, I just don't see it happening, because Carlo had come out previous to, those rumours and said that, James Rodriguez was a fantastic player for him at Real and Bayern, but when he moved to Napoli, he come to him as a rumour, and now he's coming to him as a rumour at Everton. So I just always felt like that was just an easy rumour, and it was an easy player to link to Everton Football Club. But then the more, obviously, it went on, the more, realistic it became, and the more excited you became about the prospect of bringing James Rodriguez in. And I wasn't even interested in all of that talk from other football fans about would he be able to settle into the Premier League and, he hasn't had a decent season since the World Cup. I wasn't interested in that. All as I saw was creativity in the midfield that we have not had for years, and somebody with that bit of class where you can be getting absolutely, and we haven't seen this yet because, obviously, I don't want to say luckily enough, but in our favour, we've pretty much we've won every Premier League game and every Carabao Cup game rather convincingly. But James Rodriguez is the type of player that you can be against the wall, and within a split second he'll turn the game on its head for you. We did see it slightly against West Brom. They scored the equaliser. They had a little bit of pressure. They sort of were getting back into the game, and within 5 or 10 minutes he's got Kieran Gibbs sent off with a little cheeky move, and then he scored the second goal completely out of nowhere. And you're right, they all sort of did come in at once, didn't he? By the time Allen was announced, we knew that Decore and James were going to be soon after, and of course there was the rumours, my mum's daughter's cat's uncle works in the Titanic, and they've just said that Rodriguez has turned around and said he's not interested in coming to Everton, he's this, that, the other, he just wants to get off and all of that. But we sort of knew as soon as he was in Liverpool, he wasn't going to be in Liverpool to film the Batman film, or he wasn't going to be in Liverpool for a nice stroll round the Mersey. He was here for one reason, and I highly doubt he'd have travelled without already having an agreement in place. And then of course, we signed Allen, and then we signed James on the Monday. I remember I was flying home from Greece on that day. I was in the airport and I just seen the what's happening Yeri gif, and my head just went absolutely scrambled. I was literally about to give me passport into passport control, and I said to my mum and dad, we're just gonna have to wait. If we're late to the plane, we're just gonna have to wait, because I've got like loads of stuff I need to be putting out here. I want to see the announcements. I want to see how everybody treats it. We had obviously Decore soon after, another player who spoke about how he's wanted to come to Everton for years, and there was no other option. So it all happened quite quickly, didn't it? Of course, before that we had Nkounkou come in, which I think is definitely worth a mention because he's done fantastically. And since we've had Ben Godfrey and Robin Olsen. So given the last time we sat here and spoke about, obviously being a little bit worried about Everton's transfer business, the only player we sort of had a good feeling would come in was Allen. How do you rate Everton's transfer business so far? Then obviously tomorrow is the EFL deadline. There's been a little rumour today about Josh King, but I honestly don't believe it whatsoever. So let's just say, for argument's sake, those 6 players that, I think it's 6, those 6 players that have signed for Everton are the 6 that we go into this season with. I think, for me anyway, I'm absolutely made up with that, given where we were last time we had a conversation. Are you the same? And obviously, given what we've seen so far?
Yeah, I'd probably rate it a solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you wanted me to rate it. The only, I don't want to say anything negative, because there is not much negative to say. The only thing is, though, if one of our strikers gets injured, we haven't got many options off the bench with, obviously, I know you're linked with Josh King today, but not really an out-and-out striker, really. No. I mean,
one of them are playing any.
Let boys Keane go. I mean, I weren't too bothered, because he'd only got a couple of goals for us. I weren't too bothered, but I was wishing we would have had someone else off the bench, like a target man or something, who could come on and just maybe cause a few problems. But apart from that, it's been better than I could have asked for, really. I mean, considering it, we only thought it was going to be Allen coming in.
That's it. I remember.
And Niles.
No, go on.
Niles and Nkounkou as well. It's been very surprising.
Yeah.
I just thought, we've got this under-23 player. Every time he's played, he's been brilliant. Yeah. So, and we haven't even seen Godfrey yet. A lot of people were slightly disappointed on the late deadline day. Myself included, like I just said, with the striker a little bit. But, you've got to remember we did sign Godfrey as well. So just because it got done early morning, if that would have happened late, I'm sure everyone would have been ecstatic. So it's a solid transfer window, and we've brought the right players in, I believe. So
yeah, spot on.
I'm excited to see Godfrey as well. So
yeah, spot on. And we'll go into talk about Nkounkou in a moment, because I do want to ask you a bit more about him, because obviously a lot of the focus has been around the midfield, and rightly so. You know, if you're an Everton fan, you'd obviously watched Everton towards the back end of last season. If you're not an Everton fan, I can't express to you how poor our midfield was in the last 9 games of the season. We just looked so deflated. There was nothing there. Even before the lockdown, even in the games prior to the suspension of football, there was just nothing about the midfield. There was no agency, there was no movement, there was no... we just got overrun in pretty much every game. I remember we played Southampton after the lockdown, and we made them look like Barcelona. They absolutely ran rings around us, and they were doing well at the time, but it was embarrassing for us. Villa, who were on the brink of relegation at that point, absolutely embarrassed us. We got a goal in the last 10 minutes to equalise. But, you know, we've completely changed that. We've brought in a player who's got that bit of bite and that bit of aggression about him in Alan, which we've needed at this football club for a long time. Somebody that throws his way into games. Somebody that has been consistent quality since he's come in. Decore, who's big and strong and you know, very physical in the midfield, good with the ball as well. That's the one thing I've noticed that we've brought players in. And I always sort of refer it to a lot of Evertonians going back to talking about bringing Idrissa Gana Gueye back. And I look at the players we've brought in and compare them to Idrissa Gana Gueye, because let's be honest, he was the last really decent midfielder in that role that we had. And I think I'd much rather have Alan and or Abdoulaye Doucouré, because they can play football. Idrissa Gana Gueye, as much as I love him and as hard as he worked, and as much as I think he's a brilliant footballer and a fantastic human being, and I probably would have taken him back because he's sound, I just think at times he struggled with, let's say, long balls, for example, or moving the ball forward. He was brilliant at doing the brushing up work and the dirty work and doing his job. But now we've got midfielders who do all of that, but they're also good on the ball. They bring it forward. They're good with it. They're clever with it. Like I said, James Rodriguez for me has been an absolute revelation. He is a player that has come in, brought so much creativity to this team. The lad doesn't even have to sprint. His hair doesn't move out of place. He doesn't sweat. And yet he's still scoring goals and getting assists and being involved in goals every single game. He's created the most chances out of any player in the Premier League. And I think he sprinted about 7 times. I sprinted 7 times today for the bus. I've probably sprinted more times than James Rodriguez has, and he's doing all of that in the Premier League week in, week out. Before we talk about Nkounkou then, I do want to mention Marcel Brands, and this might rile a few fans up, but I think he definitely deserves the mention and deserves the credit. Obviously, we know the likes of James, the likes of Alan, potentially even Decore and Ben Godfrey wouldn't be at Everton without Carlo Ancelotti. Everton wouldn't have signed James Rodriguez without Carlo Ancelotti. Alan definitely wouldn't be here. So a lot of credit goes to Carlo for not only having the phone book of those players, but having the know-how to phone them up and go, come and play for Everton, come and play in the Premier League, come and do it here, come and be part of this project and part of this revolution that we've got going on. But Marcel Brands for me has to take a lot of credit this summer, not only for the players that we've brought in, but with the money we've spent barely anything when you compare it to other teams. Chelsea, nearly £300 million. Them lot over the park, over 150. Manchester United, same. Villa, over 170. Everton bought in Nkounkou for £250,000. And we know what happened the last time we brought in a fullback for that price. We've brought in James Rodriguez for free, absolutely nothing, for a world-class player. Alan cost us £20 million, which, okay, you might say, well, it's £20 million, but considering Napoli's president, 3 days before Alan officially signed for Everton, said, we've got impenetrable armour and he is not leaving for anything less than 35, we still managed to get that price tag knocked down by 10. We signed Decore for 20 million, which was, I think, 15 million less than what they quoted us last summer. And obviously we brought in Ben Godfrey, who's a good young player, still waiting to see him. Yes, 20 million rising, but again, he's got good stats, and also on loan. So I don't know about you, mate, but I know he got a lot of stick, Marcel Brands, and has done for the last couple of months or so, certainly before we brought anybody in. And I understand that football is quite a fickle sport, and I'm the same. 1 week I'll have an opinion of a player, the next week it'll change, because that's what football is. That's what being a football fan is. But do you agree with me? Do you think Marcel Brands deserves a lot of credit for not only the players we've brought in, but the deals that he's happened to have made? Because we could have brought in those 6 players this summer and spent probably about £50 million more on them all if we'd have given into the demands that their clubs wanted, but we didn't. We held our back, and we've seen it didn't work in certain situations, like a Gabriel situation, but it's worked for the players we've brought in, and they've had an instant impact, haven't they? So do you feel the same as me? Do you think he deserves a lot of credit?
Yeah, I do. I don't think I was really questioning myself, but there was a lot of fans questioning. Rightly so, the fans are frustrated. But like you said, we probably don't get Rodriguez or Allen without him, without Ancelotti. Yeah. However, let's just say Steve Walsh was in charge and Ancelotti said, I want James Rodriguez. He would have probably spent 40 million on him and give him 500 grand a week. Yeah. So he's, Ancelotti's identified it and he's done the best deal he can. And it just proves in the end that we just needed to be a little bit more patient. I know it was frustrating. I was one of them. It was doing me head and not signing anyone. But at the end of the day, look at it now. You've got to judge the transfer window at the end. And he's got to... Like, when I seen Rodriguez was nothing, I didn't believe it. Yeah. And even a few weeks later, I was like, no. And then he came out that he'd give his old club the transfer fee. And I went, oh my God, we have actually got him for nothing. I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. So... Yeah, you've got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, I think Sky put the top 7 clubs who've spent the most, and considering the amount of players we brought in, we weren't even in that top 7, I don't think. No. So, or like the top 5 or something, and Leeds and stuff have spent well more than us. So, you've got to give him credit for the quality he's brought in them prices. I mean, Decore is another one. I could not believe we'd agreed a 20-odd million pound deal with them when he wanted 40 last year. I just couldn't believe it when I seen it. So he deserves a lot of credit for the players he's brought in at them prices, of course. And Godfrey, I know he's like 26 million, but he's only 22. He has got a big future ahead of him, so that's not a bad price either when you look at it, considering some defenders like Harry Maguire. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Harry Maguire, but that's 80 million quid, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Spot on. And
I mean, I'm not comparing. I'm not saying he's as good as him, but in the long run, you never know, do you?
That's it. I mean, exactly. He's a good young player. He's got all of the attributes. He's got the right attitude, and he's got the potential. Yes, he needs to sort of, work up on certain things positionally wise. He probably needs to do a bit of work on, but he's still very, very young. Mason Holgate, when he first broke into the team, had a lot to work on and has worked on that. As did Michael Keane. As did Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as did probably Richarlison as well. Again, different positions so I'm not comparing them, but I'm just saying these players come into Everton with a lot to improve on, and they have done that, and I think that Ben Godfrey will do that as well. Also on the Marcel Brands thing is, look at the clubs that we've negotiated with this summer, look at the clubs that we've bought from this summer. I remember not signing Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and I thought, oh my God, is this going to be a situation where we're going into next season with Tom Davies, Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson as a midfield three, because it's just not going to work. Obviously, the Pierre-Emile Højbjerg situation didn't work out. He's gone to Tottenham, and he hasn't done brilliantly since he's been at Tottenham. Tottenham fans will tell you that. They haven't been massively impressed with him. But look at the clubs we've dealt with this summer. Real Madrid, notoriously difficult to deal with. Napoli, notoriously difficult to deal with. And Watford absolutely hate us for some weird rivalry mad reason. They absolutely hate us. So Marcel Brands has identified 3 players, probably coincidentally from 3 clubs that are difficult to deal with, and gone out and got the best deal for Everton Football Club. We've just seen what Real Madrid have done to Spurs. They're making Spurs pay something like 300 grand a week for Gareth Bale on a 1-year loan deal, and he still hasn't played. I think he's only just returned to training now for Spurs, and he probably won't play for another 3 or 4 weeks. I think he's got fitness issues or injury issues. We've gone to Real Madrid, who notoriously, by the way, in the past, not just with Everton but with other clubs, when they see their arse and when they don't like a deal, they'll pull a plug on it. They'll just say he's not going. He's contracted to us. We'll shut down negotiations now.
I think there's a bit of fear that way. Sorry to interrupt, but I think there was a bit of fear that with Rodriguez. That's why everyone was a bit on edge, because they're known for
That's it. That's what I mean. People know that Real Madrid do that, and it's not a case of them saying, "Oh, we don't agree with that, so give us a better offer." They will just go, "No, shut down. That's it. We don't care what you come with now. It's not happening." Napoli again, like I said. Their president coming out and saying we've got impenetrable armour. Alan won't leave without us, getting £35 million. 3 days later, Alan's an Everton player and it's £20 million. It just shows the job that Marcel Brands has done. And you're right, Carlo's gone out and said I need these players, and Marcel Brands has gone out and brought them in at a price that is very, very reasonable. I mean, Hammers for a free is, I don't even need to sit here and tell you how much of a steal it is, because it's evident. Young Niels Nkounkou coming in, we'll talk about him in a second. Obviously, Alam for £20 million, Champions League experienced player, stepped into the Premier League. That's the one thing that I was surprised with. Not surprised because I know these players that were coming in had a lot of quality, but I just, watching that Tottenham game on the opening game of the season, they all just fit in as if they've been playing for Everton for years. It just felt like they were part of the squad, and they were part of the squad, But, and I know, Carlo speaks about the fact that there's no need for a settling in period because they're playing the same sport, but it just felt like they'd been playing here for ages. They just felt so comfortable. Niels Nkounkou then, obviously, I think it's important that we have a little discussion about him. Come in, 250 grand, like you mentioned before. A player that come in that I think we all thought, he's going to go into the under-23s. This was, of course, before we knew Leighton Baines was going to retire. He's going to go into the under-23s. He'll play a season there, maybe go out on loan the next season, and then he can step up to be our number 2 left back to challenge Lucas Digne in the following years. Obviously, that all got thrown out of the water when Leighton Baines come out and stated he was retiring. Niels Nkounkou went to number 2 and ultimately ended up playing the Carabao Cup fixtures, not only because he was number 2, but also because we had the centre-back situation where Lucas Digne had to move back into centre-back. And he has done fantastically, hasn't he, mate? I mean, I never expected him to make the impact that he's had. He's played 3 Carabao Cup fixtures. One against Salford, his debut, man of the match, unbelievable, so good going forward, physical, quick, beats his man every time, really good delivery of the ball into the box. Obviously against Fleetwood he got the fantastic assist for Moise Keane's goal, again very direct, always wanting to get into the box, always wanting to take his man on and doing it successfully. And then he played against West Ham, a Premier League opposition that have won some big games so far this season, beating Leicester, absolutely embarrassing Wolves, and okay, didn't get forward as much as we'd seen previously, but he'd done what he needs to do defensively, and I dare say he'd probably been told to sit back a little bit in that game and just focus on defending against the Premier League opposition, and he'd done it well. So he's had a massive impact as well, hasn't he, on the squad in terms of what we expected from him and what he's actually brought. And I know obviously we'll go into talking about the derby in a second, and obviously the Lucas Digne situation and whether or not he'll be fit. I know a lot of people are saying, oh well, I'm happy for Niels Nkounkou to go in there. I'm not really in that boat because I just know how important Lucas Digne is to Everton, but that's not to say, Niels Nkounkou hasn't had a fantastic start to the season. He's been brilliant, hasn't he?
Yeah, it does make me wonder, because when he come in, we all thought he was going to go into the under-23s. It does make me wonder, were they looking for the left back? Yeah. And then when they seen him play a few games, they thought, no, hang on, he's going to be good enough for that. Because I thought we were going to be looking for the left back when Baines retired, so I think he might have changed the manager's mind after seeing him in training a little bit there, and he's not just an under-23 player now, he is the number 2. He's been absolutely brilliant from what I've seen. I do the player ratings on the channel, obviously, some of you may know, and I've given man of the match twice in them 3 games he played in. And like you said, with the West Ham game, he showed his other qualities there. I thought he sat back well and just done what he had to do, defended well. So it shows he can do a little bit of both, really. And to be a fullback these days, you've got to get forward and defend. And I've seen him do both, to be honest. Especially in them 2 games going forward, he was absolutely brilliant. So he's been a very surprising signing, and like I said, and I'm absolutely made up with him. Now, going into Saturday, I've said a couple of times on my player ratings I would be happy to just throw him in as left back now if Lucas Digne got injured, and I would. But it's a totally different kettle of fish, the derby, isn't it? So, look, I wouldn't be worried about him if he threw him in. I'd just rather have Lucas Digne for this game because he is, at the end of the day, one of our best players. He gets stuck in. Last year, I said, him and Richarlison were the only 2 really trying for me towards the end of the season. You could see the effort was there from them too. So he gets stuck in. His positioning is spot on. He's always in the right place, and he gets assists. So for me, Lucas Digne is imperative that he plays this game. But if Nkounkou plays, let's just get behind them, because I'm not overly nervous with him or anything. I'd just rather have Digne for this game. That's all.
No, I agree.
From what I'm seeing, I wouldn't be too disheartened if he was playing, put it that way.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And Dave Walker says in the comments what happened to Digne. He picked up an injury yesterday in France's game. He put in an unbelievable ball for Mbappe, a fantastic assist, but then he did pick up a knock. Hopefully it's not too serious. Again, we don't know yet. He put up a couple of pictures today on social media, Lucas Digne, so I reckon he's alright. I reckon he's fit, but again, we'll find out from Carlo tomorrow. But just on that, I agree. Look, we'll talk about the derby and we'll get into the comments in a second. But I agree. I think it's not as much as to say I don't believe Niels Nkounkou could step in and perform, and I'm not saying I don't think he could cope with the pressure. It's just I understand how vital Lucas Digne is to Everton Football Club. He is absolutely unbelievable, and yes, you could say, oh, we've got a young left back there and Nkounkou could step in, but for me, Luca Dean is one of those players that is pretty irreplaceable at the moment. He is an outlet for goals. He's an outlet for creativity. He's defensively sound. It's like if we had a brilliant young striker on the bench who'd played a couple of Carabao Cup games and done well, and then Richarlison got injured, and us all saying, well, it doesn't matter because we've got him on the bench. It's like, no, well, what are we missing from the player that's injured? And that's my worry. Not that I'm overly, oh my god, it's the end of the world, because, Nkounkou probably could go in there and do a job, but if Luca Dean is injured, which again we don't know, and I don't want to speculate too much because we don't know, but if he was, one thing you could guarantee is they'd focus on it. They'd go, right, okay, this young lad Nkounkou, yes, he's had a couple of decent games, but absolutely pepper him, put the pressure on him, because he's got no Premier League experience. He's only played a couple of games at the highest level. Try and break him pressure wise, and also, like I said, what we're missing Luca Dean is just detrimental to us. He brings so much. He's so vital. So it's not so much that I'm worried that Nkounkou wouldn't be able to step in and do a job. It's that I'm worried that what we miss in Luca Dean being out the team, which is, let's be honest, an awful lot. But hopefully it's nothing too serious. Like I said, we don't know until Carlo has his pre-game press conference. What we do know is Alan is fit, Gomez is fit, Seamus Coleman is fit, Yerry Mina's going to have a late fitness test, obviously after picking up a slight knock on international duty. He was left out of Colombia's last game as a precaution, so hopefully he is fit. So, we may be going into this game with the strongest side that we possibly can. Again, fitness, situations will depend, obviously, with everybody coming back from international duty, but, it is a worry. But again, like I said, I agree completely, just echoing what you said about Nkounkou. He has been absolutely exceptional so far this season. He has surpassed my expectations already. And I think you're right, Everton were interested in another left-back. We were looking at Reguilon, who signed for Spurs a couple of weeks ago, signed with Gareth Bale. We were looking at him when Leighton Baines first announced his retirement, and then, of course, obviously Nkounkou come in and has been an absolute revelation. And we now don't need to look at a backup left back, but I dare say it'd be it's a little bit of a headache for Carlo Ancelotti. We'll get into the live comments then before we get further. Philip said we could throw Balassi on in his skirt and bra, and Everton bra. That's a reference to, I don't know if you caught our live stream yesterday. It was joined by Tom T Logic, and he said, Balassi's become sort of a cheerleader. You may as well get him an Everton skirt and let him just stand around and cheer on. Just for a bit of context for that one, just in case people are going, what are you on about, skirt and bra? Mark says,
I don't know what you're on about.
Yeah, I thought I'd give context so everyone was a bit like, wow, what's going on there? Mark says, hi guys, come on you Blues. Hi Mark. Dave says, first. Wayne says, 2-0 to the mighty Blues. Come on lads, smash that like button. If you could hit the like button, it would mean a great deal to us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Philip says, hello fellow Batman fans. I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, because obviously Jordan, has got Movie Worm. Jordan's YouTube channel, absolutely unbelievable YouTube channel, brilliant content, couple of video game videos on there as well over the last couple of days, which I've just found boss. As video review, as movie content boss as well. But I've just nostalgized so much over the video game videos. Obviously, massive movie fan. Seen you visited the set a couple of times or on Twitter. I've been there to Cherry Lane and to town to see it. It's just completely off topic and off Everton topic. Don't know if John will shout at us here for going off topic, but it's quite amazing, isn't it, to see a Batman film filmed in the home city of Liverpool. And I believe the director of the film, I've completely forgot his name, so I apologise, but I believe he had a little bit of a Q&A. Yeah, I believe he had a little bit of a Q&A, and he was asked, basically asked, is Liverpool just being used to, as a film location, and it's going to look massively different in the film? And he said, no, rest assured, Liverpool is Gotham City for this film. We haven't just come over here to film a few scenes. It is fully Gotham City. So it's mad, innit? And it's amazing to see him on the lava buildings and riding the bike. It's just crazy, innit?
Considering it's my most anticipated film right now, it's just amazing to see. And when I went to the set the other day, obviously I weren't on the set, I was just outside it, but got a few pictures. It was surreal. It was just nothing like I'd seen before. I've never been on a film set or anything like that, so to get that close was just fantastic. And there's a Gotham City van there, and I watched the trailer again the other day, and that van is actually in the trailer. I spotted it, the same van, so with the Gotham News on it and all that. So I've been looking at all the pictures now. It's been great.
It's mad. It is mad. Again, just.
But for this.
It's fantastic for the city. It'll bring so much money in for this, and I understand that what's going on in the world currently, and people going, and I urge anybody that does go and see it, look, if you can go and see it safely, I'd urge you to, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You won't get many opportunities to see a Hollywood film filmed in your home city, let alone a Batman film, but please be safe with it. Don't go crowding around in massive crowds or standing on each other's heads to see Robert Pattinson. Certainly if you're going to see who, the stunt double in the Batman suit, it's not Robert Pattinson, so please don't stand around climbing on each other's heads thinking that he's going to lash his mask off and start giving a speech. It's not him. You won't get close to Robert Pattinson. The closest you'll get is probably about 500 yards while he's on the steps at St George's Hall. But it's again slightly off topic, but it's amazing to see. It's just baffled me just to think that we're going to watch a Batman film where he does his famous leap off a building and it's the lava building. I just would absolutely love Everton to just sneak a little Everton flag in the corner or something slyly, do you know what I mean? Little picture of Ames on a billboard just in the corner, just so when he makes the leap everyone goes, hell, that kit's alright, isn't it? But we probably won't, but it'd be boss if we did. Anyway, back to Everton, back to the Merseyside derby, back to Everton. Alexander says Saturday will be a big day and a day to remember my words. It certainly will. Everton Botcher says, hi Cam and Jordan lad, how you doing? I'm not too bad. Philip says, to be honest, I can't bear to watch it. My old nerves won't take it. Thomas says, evening gents, what's happening Thomas? Abigail says, we can win it, but we have to be clever and not take Liverpool lightly. Everton Botchers loves the content. Is right. John says, how are we doing? What is everyone's favourite moment of the season? Alexander says, James didn't play good against Chile in the Colombian game, but I think he was saving himself for this match coming up because we play very dirty in South America. Yeah, I seen him. I don't know if you've seen it, Jordan. I can't sit here and talk about it positively, but he had a little bit of a stamp out at Alexis Sanchez, I think it was, and I sort of looked at it and thought, I'll pretend that hasn't happened. But he's got a little bit of snide about him. We were all worried it's going to happen to him and he's doing it to everyone else. But he's got that little bit of snide about him. Again, I'm not condoning that, because if that was the other way around and it was Sanchez doing it to him, I'd be fuming. But he's got that little bit of snideness, hasn't he, about him, that, again, like you said, we all thought, is he going to be a player that doesn't really want to get his socks dirty and doesn't really want to get involved? But he's not. He's getting involved. He's throwing tackles in. He's getting about the pitch, which is brilliant. So, going on to Saturday's game then. First Merseyside derby in a long time that I think Everton go into it absolutely, completely confident. 4 wins out of 4 in the Premier League, 7 out of 7 overall. Liverpool coming off the back of a embarrassing defeat, let's be honest. How are your thoughts going into it? What are your feelings? Are you confident? Are you, same as we always are with derbies, where you're just like, I hate them, I can't, because I hate them. As confident as I am, and I think this is the best form Everton have gone into a Merseyside derby in my lifetime. I just hate them that much that I just can't bear to be excited about it. How are you feeling, obviously, going into it?
When you're asking it, I just give it a little thought and have to breathe out, because I thought, oh my god, it is the derby in a couple of days. I thought we were going to beat them at Anfield with the kids. I thought this is our big chance and we never. So, I think we can beat them. I always think we can beat them. But, like you said, this is us on form now. I don't think we've been on this good form for a very, very long time. I can't remember the last time Everton won 7 games in a row. Never mind. I can't even remember the last time.
I think it was something like the 40s or something. We won 7 games in a row. I don't know, the 80s or something. First division games on the bounce. A long time, put it that way.
But I think, look, there's a fine line between confidence and getting cocky. Yeah. I just think keep level-headed. We can beat them. Believe we can beat them. But I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, we're going to batter them. Because I'm just not going to make a fool of myself if it comes back to bite me. But I do think we have got a very good chance. But the way I see it, there's been a couple of games this season where the odd player hasn't been on it. Like, I thought the Corey first half against Palace was a little bit off it. Second half picked it up really well. Mina against West Brom was off it. But brilliant every other game. I think to beat these, every player has got to be at the top of their game, because whether you like it or not, I know they're Liverpool and they're our rivals. For me, they're probably still the best team in the league. So, obviously not right now, because we are. Yeah, exactly. But what I mean is overall,
no.
When they get going,
I agree.
When they get going, you've got to be at the top of the game to beat them. We can't play that messing around the back against them either. They press better than everyone. So, I think we can beat them, we can, obviously, but it'll be tough.
No, I agree completely. You're spot on there, you're absolutely spot on. Everybody has to be at 150%. Everybody has to be at the top of the game. And you're right, there is a fine line between confidence and cockiness, and if we do go out and win, how we keep that fine line. The last thing I'd want is us to beat Liverpool and then get overly ahead of ourselves and go and lose the next 2 games. But it's...
I've thought that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to be difficult. Ultimately, Everton are going in on fantastic form, but we have to play the game and not the occasion for a start. And we have to go in and let's not worry about Liverpool. Let's not play to Liverpool's... how Liverpool want you to play. Go out and play how we've been playing. Target their weaknesses, which is very clearly their right-hand side, because Trent Alexander-Arnold, for as good as he might be going forward, the kid that can't defend, if Joe Gomez is in there, target him, and target the goalkeeper, who is still going to be Adrian, who still isn't very good at goalkeeping. So target their weaknesses and go and watch the Villa game and do that. The one sort of worry I have, and I was always going to have a worry, listen, if they'd beat Villa, I'd have been worried. If they hadn't beat Villa, which they didn't, I'd have been worried. I can't believe I'm sitting here saying they've been tonked 7-2, and I'm still slightly worried, and that's because you'd almost, for me anyway, I almost feel like they may have been pushed into a little bit of a corner. They've been royally embarrassed, they've been ripped to shreds. Their sort of feeling of invincibility has been completely stripped away from them and burnt to the ground, and they've had a massive reality check. So I feel like that they'll now want to react. And I think, I said this in our live stream yesterday, I would not be surprised whatsoever if Jurgen Klopp says to them, go out and kick for 45 minutes, go and make an absolute horrible bunch of yourselves, go and kick them, go and foul them, go and put them in the air, and just stop them from playing their football, and then try and hit them on the counter-attack once and just make it horrible for them. Because ultimately Jurgen Klopp knows that if they play in the way that they played against Villa, we could have a field day against them. And for me, there is a mentality situation regarding it. There was a mentality situation at Goodison Park towards the back end of last season. Tom Davies hits the post in the last 8 minutes. If that goes in and we win that game, we go into this game on Saturday with a completely different mentality. But
I'd be more confident if that would have went.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly. But but we're going into this game, I feel we're going into this game anyway, with the thought process of we've brought in Alan, who isn't going to be afraid to play Liverpool. He's played Liverpool 4 times at Napoli, won twice, drawn once and lost once, and the game they lost, they shouldn't have lost. They were very unlucky. Obviously, Ancelotti has played Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool quite a lot and has a good record against them. We've brought in James Rodriguez, who's played in World Cups, played in Champions League finals. He's not going to be afraid to play Liverpool at Goodison. Abdoulaye Doucouré, obviously, you'll be wanting to sort of put his foot down, and this is a big opportunity for Everton to go out there. And all we've heard so far from opposition fans is, yeah, but you've beat no one good. Yeah, but you've not done it against anyone decent. They seem to forget that Tottenham are battering everyone now, and we battered them on the opening day and we embarrassed them. They seem to forget that Palace embarrassed Man United and we beat them. Brighton embarrassed Man United and we beat them. West Brom embarrassed Chelsea and we beat them. They forget about all of that. This Saturday, if we beat them, could be a massive statement. And again, I'm not going to get too carried away with myself and talk about winning the league or anything, but it could be a massive statement as to say, we can beat anyone on our day. We can turn up and we can beat anyone. And they've proven that they're not unbeatable. They're a very good team still, and I don't think they should be underestimated for 1 minute. And I don't get me wrong, I don't think Everton and Carlo Ancelotti would go into this game underestimating them, because he always speaks about how they're the champions and ultimately they're the best team in the country at the moment, off the back of last season. Not form, but off the back of last season. But I don't think any of us should be going in thinking, we'll absolutely batter them, because it's Derby for a start, and they will be wanting to bounce back. If we go out on Saturday and embarrass them, then what's everyone going to be thinking about them? They'll be thinking, well, they've just been beaten and embarrassed twice on the bounce here. So not only are they 6 points behind Everton, who are top of the league, but they're also, they've proven that they can't step it up. So they're going to want a reaction, and it's important that we can handle that reaction and we can play our normal football and we can go out and beat them. And they will come out fast, and I think they'll come out physical, and I think they'll come out dirty. I've seen many a Merseyside derbies before where Liverpool have gone into it with their backs against the wall and they haven't had the quality to play good football, which of course they have got now, but they haven't had it, and they've simply just come out and kicked us up the park, and the referees have given them every decision and they've won the game off doing that. And I would not be surprised. Let's not have any of this bullshit that Jurgen Klopp's a dead nice fella and he'd be saying, just go and play your game. He wouldn't. If he needs to say, go and kick them up the park, he'll say it. If he needs to have a little conversation and a pat on the back of Michael Oliver before the game and say, yeah, I've got a little signed shirt for you here. Here's, the best cups of tea from Germany. Here's a belter box of biscuits here for you. If he needs to sweeten the referee up, he'll do it, because he'll do whatever he needs to win, and it's important that Everton do whatever we need to win as well.
Alex Ferguson for 20 years.
Exactly. Alex Ferguson done it for...
I don't know if Klopp does that, but like you said, I wouldn't put it past
Exactly. And we're going into this game with the best chance of beating them for a long time. Not only because of the form they're on, but but they've proven that they can be beaten. They've proven that they can be embarrassed this season, and we have proven that we're on absolute fire. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, James Rodriguez, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Allen, just absolutely playing unbelievable football and winning comfortably. There's ways to beat them. Like I said, focus on their weaknesses. Their right back defensively is a massive weakness. The centre halves, Virgil van Dijk's been awful this season, massive weakness. The goalkeeper has been dreadful. Obviously they haven't got him fit. Yes, they'll have Mane fit. Yes, they'll have Thiago back and Henderson maybe. But if we win that midfield battle and we keep their forward line quiet, which I honestly think we can do, because defensively we've been fantastic, and we make chances and we make the most of the chances, then we've got a big chance of winning this game. Like I said, I haven't gone into a derby in a long time thinking we've got more than what it takes to beat these here. We just have to keep our cool a little bit and play our football. If this wasn't Liverpool, if it wasn't a Merseyside derby, I'd be confident going into it, and I am confident going into it. Obviously it's the derby, so it's different feeling and etc. going into it, but it's important that, again, not to give them credit, but we understand that they still a team with a lot of quality that can hurt teams. But if we can go out and embarrass them, that says a lot about Everton. That says that we're there to stay, we're there to challenge, we're there to fight. We're not just going to be beaten off in the games with big mentality. And we've already showed this season, again, despite the fact that people will say, oh, you haven't really played anyone big, we've already showed on 3 occasions that I can think of at the top of my head a difference in mentality. The Tottenham game, hadn't beaten a top six side away from home in years. Hadn't beaten Tottenham at their ground for something like 11, 12 years. We didn't just beat them, we comfortably beat them. It was easy. I remember sitting back on 60 minutes going, this is pissed this. We've won this game, we're winning comfortably. We beat West Brom after going down in the first 8 minutes. We beat West Brom after them scoring straight after half time. We come back, we beat them. We beat Brighton after our absolute silly mistake. We still went in at half time, 2-1 up. It seems like when we're conceding, we're thinking, nah, you know what? We'll just go up and score another goal here. Yeah, you've scored and that could have been avoided, but we'll just go up and score another 2. And we have to go in with that mentality that if we do concede or if something does go wrong on Saturday, we go, nah, you know what? Use a shite defensively, so we're just going to go up the other end and score another 2. And it's a big chance for us to win, isn't it? And it will be a big statement if we did win.
Yeah, I think last year, just go that when we went a goal down, our heads would just go, but this year it hasn't, and that's a big plus. I just want to say, I've said this for a while now, if we want to be successful and start winning things, there's a few mental blocks that we have to, as a club, get past. One of them was winning away to, I'm not going to say the Big Six, I'm going to say the Sky Six. Yeah. Winning at one of them grounds, and we've done it. We've done it convincingly, first game. The next one is this, mate. We have got to beat these. We cannot sit there and go, oh yeah, we'll take a draw. We just need to beat them, mate. We need to get this over with. It's been 10 years now. It just needs to happen, and that is a big mental block for this team, I feel. But like you said, like the Doucouré, Rodriguez and all that, they're not in the tunnel against Spurs going, oh, we haven't won here for 7 years, have we? Yeah. They're not going to be thinking that in the derby. They're going to be going off the back of the past 4 games and going for it and going, yeah, let's just play like we are, lads. And if they are going to kick us, we're just going to have to not react too much and play our game. Maybe get in the ref's face a little bit, but we can't let them stop us playing our game, which we've been so good at this season. That's it. And like you said, you know what, mate? These journos can say all they want. We'll probably, if we beat Liverpool, they'll probably go home. Well, they got beat 7-2 by Villa, so it's nothing special. Let's see what Everton do next. Yeah, exactly. That's what they're like.
Exactly, spot on.
But the games we have played, I was absolutely terrified for that Tottenham game. I don't know what. I know you said you were calm for the 60 minutes, but I think, because I've been waiting for so long to win at one of them grounds, I was so nervous. I'd done the player ratings after, and I was still shaking a little bit. Couldn't believe we'd won. But when I look at the West Ham game, the Carabao Cup, they give us the scare for a little bit, but then I look back and go, that was easy. Yeah. And the Brighton game, it was 4-1 for the long, till the last minute. Yeah. And it was a wonder strike out of nowhere. And I just thought, if you turned over as a neutral now and seeing 4-1, you go, fucking hell, Everton, the real deal here.
Exactly.
When you look back, that game was easy.
Exactly.
I think the most troubling one was Palace, and we played our game a little bit different there. But again, they didn't really trouble us that much, apart from their goal. I don't remember them actually nearly scoring every 2 minutes or anything like that.
Exactly.
So I think we've played really, really well this year, and I think we deserve a lot more credit than people are giving us credit for, to be honest.
Spot on. You mentioned the West Ham game there. 99% of that game we made it look piss easy. We brought them to Goodison, we bish-bash-boshed them about Dom had Attic, and we sent them back down to London. That's a West Ham team that embarrassed Wolves a week before that. That's a West Ham team that have since embarrassed Leicester. Two teams that are fighting for Europe and that everybody talks about being a potential challenger for the Champions League every year. We absolutely embarrassed them. On the derby, again, I think it's so... Obviously, as a fan base, I sit here and you sit here and any other Everton content creator and any Everton fan watching and commenting and everything, we all sit here with this inner sort of, it's the derby though, and everything goes out the window and we haven't won there for that long. What I think is very, very important, and what I think Carlo Ancelotti will do, is strip that completely away from the team. Strip the derby, strip the fact that we haven't won against them for however long, strip the fact that there are local rivals, completely remove that and go, we are playing a team here who have won this amount of games this season, lost this amount of games, and in the games they've lost, they've been exposed in this position and that position. Go out and play your footy. And I think, like you mentioned, you made a brilliant point. There's no way James and Decore and Alan would have been in that session, would have been in that tunnel at Spurs going, we haven't won at one of these grounds for years, They'd have been thinking, yeah, I'm just going to go out and do my job here. And we've seen in the 4 Premier League games we've played so far, and the 3 Carabao Cup games, that the likes of your Dominic Calvert-Lewin and your, Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson and Tom Davies, who may have been part of those players thinking, shit, we haven't won here for a long time, there's all this pressure. They've looked at them players and gone, actually, why do we need to be scared? Why do we need to sort of, why do we need to back away from them? Why do we need to be worried? Why do we need to care about the past? Just go out and play your footy. And they've benefited from having that type of attitude and that type of mentality in the team from the new players. And I think that's why I just think he'll make it, bloody laugh a lot over the park. That's why I think he'll make it dirty, because I think he'll know that Everton will have stripped away all the emotion and gone, it's just a game of footy against the team that got battered last time out. Go out and do your job and go and batter them again. And that's why I think his tactic will be a little bit of shock them and kick them and make it hard for them and hurt them and try and get them frustrated and win it that way. Because if they just come out to play footy and we come out to play footy, I think we can expose them massively. We've been very good defensively this season, other than the odd situation here and there. They haven't, and we've been very good going forward. They're scoring goals for fun, absolutely scoring goals for fun. If you put Richarlison on that left hand side and you say to him, just run up and down that wing and run St Alexander-Arnold all day, he'll have an absolute field day against them. James Rodriguez will have a field day in the middle as well. And I think it is important that Carlo strips down, and he's done it before. He's done it in the last Merseyside derby. We played Liverpool towards the back end of last season, having not played a game for 3 months straight, with a midfield that had let us down time and time again, and we should have won the game. They had nothing going forward. Defensively we were brilliant, and we hit the post in the last 10 minutes. We've now brought in players with real quality, real ability, and real creativity to change games around. How confident should we be and must we be going into this game? I am confident. If it wasn't them, I'd be so much more confident. But ultimately, it's not really about how I feel or how Jordan feels or how anybody else feels. It's about how those 18 players who will be wearing an Everton shirt on Saturday feel. It's about how Carlo Ancelotti feels. And if he goes, yeah, lads, we've been boss so far, won 7 out of 7, quarterfinals of the Cup, 4 out of 4, top of the Premier League. This team, doesn't even mention the name, this team got swatted last time out. We know they're very good. We know they've got a lot of good players. We know they've won the league, but there's, X, Y, and Z areas and where they can be exploited. Go out and do that. And just completely put it down to a game of footy that we need to go out and win. And then after we've won, talk about how big it is, how big the win is. And again, I'm not Carlo Ancelotti. I haven't won 3 Champions Leagues. I haven't won all the trophies under the planet that he has. But I think Carlo Ancelotti, like I mentioned, will do that. He won't mention the occasion and how big it'll be if we win and how we haven't won for that long before the game. We can talk about all that after the game if we've won, and we'll be here. Me and Jordan will be sitting here on our videos, and we'll be talking on Twitter about how unbelievable it is and how brilliant it was and how much of a mental step it is. But before the game, for me, the conversation should be, go out and play footy. You're playing a team that have been exposed this season. Go out and expose them again. Not so much, we haven't beat them in this long and it's a derby and they're this and they're that and they're brilliant and they're that and they're this. Understand that they're good players. Understand that they're a good team, but also understand that they're a team that have been proven that they can be absolutely ripped to bits. Ollie Watkins had a field day, an absolute field day last time out against them. If you put Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin in Ollie Watkins' situation, and Dom scores 6 in that same game, because he's more clinical than Ollie Watkins. So go out and do that. and you know, obviously they'll have other players back that they didn't have against Villa, and they'll probably change it about a little bit. But you know, if we keep to what we've been doing, there's no reason why we can't win this game, is there? I tell you what will happen on Saturday. If we don't win, without being too negative, Everton will beat Everton on Saturday. Liverpool won't beat Everton. We'll beat ourselves if we don't win this game.
Yeah.
Because ultimately,
done it a few times.
That's it. There's no excuse as to why we can't go out and win that game on Saturday. No excuse whatsoever.
I'm glad you mentioned Ancelotti there, mate, because I just want to say, like, as good as all these players have been and all that, it's down to him. Everything is down to him this season. And I just liked it after, I don't know if you've seen his interview after the, I think it was on Match of the Day, after the Brighton game. He just said, football isn't complicated, it's simple. And it's just like, I think that's what it'll be like in the dressing room, like you said. He's just going to go through the tactics, do this and that. He's not going to be getting the players worried or anything like that. He's just going to do his little simple tactic plan, like he has done with all these games, and say, play your game.
That's it.
And I just loved, he just knows what he's doing, doesn't he? When I seen that interview, I just went, that man is just, that's why he's one of the best managers in the world. He doesn't panic. He just knows what he's doing. And I think he's going to drill that into the players' heads. And I'm just hoping that we can get past this mental block, mate. But look, I don't care how many we score past them. If it's 1-0, I'll take it.
Spot on.
You know what I mean? It's just a mental block that I feel as a club, whole club, we need to get past. But I'm hoping after the game we beat them, and you know, Seamus Coleman says to Rodriguez, do you know we haven't beat them in like 10 years? And he'll go, oh, haven't we? No. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Why not?
I'm just hoping it's something like that happens along the lines. I think James Rodriguez is going to be absolute key for us this game. I think he's the one to split their defence. If he's on it, we've got an even bigger chance, I feel. If he's going to do a 9 or 10 out of 10 game, he's the key for us, I feel. I don't know about you, but I just think he's the man who can unlock the creativity for us beating them.
I agree 100%. I think if James is on form, then I think it could be quite comfortable for Everton, because he is a level above most players in the Premier League. I mean, I've seen non-Evertonians talk about how good he is, and I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but somebody said, other than Kevin De Bruyne, there isn't a creative midfield in the Premier League as good as James Rodriguez, and I actually agree with him. Whoever the person was that said that, I don't think there is. I think James on his day, and all as we've seen since he's been at Everton is James on his day, by the way. It's not like we've seen him perform brilliantly once and then be inconsistent. Every time he's played, he's been unbelievable.
He makes something happen every game.
He makes something happen. He creates, or he scores, or he's in the right positions, or he's helping other people to be in the right positions every single game. And I agree, it is about Carlo, and we've all, like I mentioned before, if they go scrappy and they go a little bit, well, we'll just make it hard for them. We've got Duncan Ferguson in the dressing room there that'll say, right, we make it scrappy. That's it. Again, like we mentioned before, one thing I've been so happy with is we haven't just brought in players who are dead good at footy. We've brought in players that if they need to throw a tackle in and get snide, they'll throw a tackle in and get snide. James Rodriguez, even though his ear is absolutely boss and it doesn't move throughout a game of footy, let's not get it twisted. He's not just this nice pretty footballer who doesn't get involved. If he needs to throw a tackle in, he'll throw a tackle in. If somebody puts a foot on Richarlison, best believe James Rodriguez is the first player in their face screaming at them and saying, what are you doing there? Seamus Coleman literally went over to Son last season and apologised to him for what happened with the Andre Gomez situation. Fast forward one Carlo Ancelotti later and a load of new players and a different mentality, and Seamus Coleman's in the face of Kieran Gibbs saying, you won't do anything to us, you won't do it again, I dare you to come and do it again. It's a complete switch in mentality, and that's what we'll need.
My God, you guys even wound Gibbs up there.
Exactly. He give him the nudge, he give him the, go on, you do that then. It's
probably been down to as well Gibbs not being able to cope with them for the game as well, and he's just got frustrated when he's nudged them.
That's it, exactly. And James is a very experienced player, and we've got players that'll dig deep. So if we need to dig deep, if we need to get dirty, we've got players that'll get dirty. If we need to play the nice football, we've got Ancelotti who will tell them to play the nice football. The more I talk about it, the more confident I am. Every time I think, oh, but we're playing Liverpool and it's a derby, I think, oh, we're playing Liverpool, and then all of them nerves come back. But again, if you can't be confident going into this game, you're never going to be confident going into a derby until we've won. So we just have to be as confident as possible.
It's a mental block.
That's it.
It's a mental block for me. I think we're going to win. I go into every derby quietly confident, but it's just it'll change my whole mentality about derbies if we can just get this first one over the line. because I probably won't be that bothered when it comes to Anfield. I'll be like more relaxed about it. It's a mental block, mate.
Spot on. I agree. And
there, when you mentioned Coleman, by the way, I just think he's been look like he's got his pace back this year. By the way, I just think he looks like a whole new player. It's like these players have come in and all the other pegs go into the holes. It's just
spot on.
It's brought everyone together, I think, and I think Coleman's been brilliant, to be honest.
Spot on. Couldn't agree more. Jen says I think they still have Alisson out injured as well. Jen is good, but he's no Alisson. I don't think a good keeper will save them. How good our attacking players have been.
I think, by the way, mate, just a quick, Adrian, if he's playing, you made a good point before. You've got to test him, because I remember we played them in a semi and Brad Jones was in goal, and I think we only had one shot and scored. I can't remember us testing him. So that's a big weakness that we could exploit, because he is prone to mistakes, Adrian.
Spot on. Jem also says, see a lot of goals are being scored with the stadiums being empty. I think we could win by a good few without being nuts, 5-2 or even more, AFC winning in the end. I hope so. Jason says, if you look at how many goals we scored thus far, Liverpool could be in for a ride awaken. I wonder what the players' mindset is right now. You're spot on. Robert says, if we score first, got to keep our concentration and not think we've already won it. It's all in the head. Carlo, with his experience, will make sure they are well prepared. You're spot on. We do. We have to keep our heads, and we have to make sure that we don't panic in that situation.
Twice we've scored first this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other team, was it 3 times? Was West Ham one? So that's 3 times. Was it 1-1 with West Ham at one point?
I don't know if it's 2. No, yeah, it was 1-1. They scored the free kick. They scored just after half time. Yeah.
There's that Brighton Palace 3 times we've scored, and the other team score one, so that is a very good point, I feel.
Spot on. We'll leave it there then. Look, the game preview to the Merseyside derby either will be up in the next coming days or is already up, so definitely go and check that one out. If you want to check our game preview out, we'll be live at 5:15 PM tomorrow with that. We're going to talk about Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference. We're going to talk about predicted starting 11s and all of that good stuff as well. Big thanks to Jordan for joining me once again. Massive thanks, mate. Anything to say before we finish up?
Yeah, come on, you Blues. Tomorrow.
There you go. Come on, you Blues. Let's go out and win this game. Let's not go out and play the occasion. Let's not go out and care about who we were playing. Go out and do what you've been doing for the last 7 or 8 weeks and just beating teams and scoring goals comfortably and playing nice football. And let's go and get over this mental block. And more importantly, forget about Liverpool. Forget about the derby. Let's go and win another game and make it 5 out of 5 unbeaten and put ourselves in a brilliant position coming towards the back end of October. Big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like. It really does mean a lot to us. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. Massive thanks to everybody watching as a YouTube video. Check out Jordan's channel in the description down below. Come and check out us if you want as well. We'd really appreciate that. Big thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you soon.